Hello everyone, I'm Tom DeFano here in Louisville. Tone Acoustics is the name of my company, and I make acoustic devices to improve the performance of various instruments, primarily cello, but some of them work on every instrument. One thing I have is the acoustic coupling disc that's brass, and you would think brass would be slick. Well, I put a special pad on the bottom that's cleanable, that's a non-skid surface, and this actually increases the surface area of the brass tip. It makes it sound better. It also dissipates what's called interfering energy that travels down the rod and hits the floor, which typically travels back up the rod and can get into the cello again through the bridge and the strings. So if you can clean up that energy, you get cleaner sound, you get better definition, you get more output, and you get better response from your bow. Another thing that I do that nobody else really does is if you look at the tip, which is removable, the tip appears to be one piece with the dome. It actually unscrews, so if it ever needs to be replaced or it doesn't fit in your case, you can unscrew this and then carry it separately. But it's almost seamless. So what I've done is try to avoid all right angles. There's no right angles for sound to reflect back up towards your cello. It's all dissipated to the floor, and better yet, through the coupling disc. I also have recently, I got a carbon fiber endpin and not brass, which some people say is the best sounding carbon fiber endpin out there. It's got a replaceable tip. Same principles. There's no reflections going back up the rod into the cello to interfere with the next signal or the next note you want to play. And then there's the cap, protective cap, that you can put on, take off. The tip is extremely sharp. It's a tungsten cobalt tip. It's less likely to shatter or break than a true tungsten carbide, and it actually sounds better. I've got what I call the bass note because it's a even better bass, stable bass, and this actually increases the output of any cello or your bass. You just simply put your endpin in there. It's got a 3-point suspension. These unscrew so you can carry them separate. This is heavy. It's going to be expensive, but there's been a couple instances where performers were recording and the engineer came down and one said, well, you don't need a mic, so they took the mic away. So this gives you increase in volume and weight of sound. You know, it gives you a lot of throw. So there's a couple crucial things that I do for all my endpins, all the metal parts of my endpins. There's a process that NASA used since the 1950s that they process metals that go into outer space. And this sounds kind of crazy, but it works. And they do it for treatment, so it's so cold up there that the materials are pre-treated for the effects of being in an absolute zero or whatever. I do it because it improves the performance and the sound of the brass. It actually aligns the molecular surface of the materials, all the brass parts, and it also reduces friction. Back to interfering energy. It's all about how things flow, and you want a continuous wave that's smooth. You don't want other waves colliding. Even on a molecular level, it seems to work. So all my products that are metal, the tips, the domes, the discs, they all share that process. They all have that attribute. Recently, I have this material. It's called Vitale, and it's a liquid that you can put on various parts of the musical instrument, including the endpins and a lot of different parts. And this increases the fidelity, also increases the output, and it decreases interfering energy, just like the brass endpins. The carbon fiber I selected. I tested various types of carbon fiber, and this one, while not being the most expensive or hardest or toughest, under a listening test, actually had several of these made, and we did a comparison. This particular material was the winner, and it's based on what works and what sounds best. So that's the whole motivation of what I do, and this product is pretty cool. It spreads a lot, a mile, so a little bit will last you a long time. This will be available for sale at some point in the near future. So today we had a new cellist. To me, I'd never met him before. Sounded great, and I hope he adds his 2 cents to what this is about and what he heard. His cello was marvelous, I thought. And then my friend David playing 12-string guitar. So we juiced it up, all of them, with Vitale, and we recorded a difference. I mean, you can hear it, and it's very evident. So I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy what you heard. You're welcome to email me at toneacoustics@gmail.com for any questions or impressions. Love to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jackson, and I'm a cellist from Kentucky who also worked on the video and audio for this project with Tone Acoustics. I wanted to give a brief overview of the way we mic'd the cello, the equipment we used, and the considerations we had going into the recording of this project. One of the more important parts of this project was our approach to miking the cello in the room. We wanted to make sure we did a good job capturing not only the sound up close, but in the room itself. We used 3 microphones. One you can see in the shot, which was an AT4050 stereo microphone that was placed at the bridge of the cello a few feet back. We also had a stereo pair of Rode M5s, which were several feet back and a little bit higher up, pointed down at the cello. And then in the back of the room we had the Rode NT5s with an Omni capsule to capture the room sound. While we were recording, we did not change any of the mic placements, any of the audio levels, so that everything would be consistent from endpin to endpin or product to product. In post-production, this stays true as well. No EQ was used, and everything is consistent from clip to clip. The only thing I did with the audio was obviously line the files all up together, and then I did some balancing to get a nice mix of the mics up close and the room mic. That being said, those adjustments were made for every single audio file the same exact way, so we tried to be as consistent as possible in our approach to the miking and in the editing itself. The room we recorded in was acoustically treated and a little dry, which I thought lent itself well to the comparisons because you could really hear everything very well. Switching hats, as a cellist, it was a lot of fun to get to meet with Tom and see the products he has to offer, and also to compare and contrast how they sound and the different characteristics they have. I think a lot of that can be heard in the audio recordings. It certainly was evident in the room that there were distinct differences between the different products, and you can tell even with some of the mannerisms of my playing that I was hearing different sounds from my cello than I'm used to. Maybe I'll be able to throw in a clip here, but with a combination of some of the products with the straight pin and the bass note, you could feel the floor shake. on the C string, which as a cellist we love the C string and we want it to be a big powerful sound, and so to just feel the floor shake was really a fun experience.
That shakes the floor.
Hopefully my playing will be able to demonstrate some of the differences in the products. I tried to be as consistent as I could be. Of course, you know, pure consistency is somewhat impossible, so bear that in mind. But I hope that these videos serve as at least a reference of what Tone Acoustics has to offer and the differences that are shown.